and welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily and I hope y'all are doing awesome. Longtime viewers might notice that I am in a new space here. I have moved, so I have been getting set up in my new apartment. I don't know if I'm set on this location for filming, so you might see me in different places in different videos. I'm sorry if the lighting is weird or the camera angle is weird. I am still sorting that out too. I think it's going to bother a lot of people that they can't see the whole bird behind me, the whole picture. But I don't know, I like the way this looks. I think it's already an improvement from my previous filming space. But yeah, just kind of bear with me while I get things sorted out. But other than that, I'm doing great and I hope you guys are doing awesome too. Today we have a video that is talking about a topic that is of ever-increasing importance these days, self-care. And I think we hear people talk about self-care a lot, but it can be difficult sometimes to sort of determine what self-care is through those discussions. So today we're going to talk about what self-care is and isn't, and how you can create a self-care plan that you can actually stick to. So if that all sounds like something you're interested in, just go ahead and keep on watching. So I feel like we should start by defining self-care, talking about what self-care is, right? So self-care, to put it simply, is taking care of your health, mind, body, and soul. It's engaging in activities that both reduce stress and promote wellness. I think self-care is often thought of as something for people who are already stressed out or already have a physical or mental illness. And while self-care is really important for those groups of people to continue engaging in, it's equally as important for people who are well and healthy and not overly stressed. Engaging in self-care regularly, even if you aren't unhealthy or overly stressed, is important in preventing you from becoming unwell and stressed. Because that's one of the reasons, I guess, that self-care is so important, is that it's because self-care is both preventative and restorative. It gives us back our health and then keeps us healthy, keeps us from getting unhealthy again. So when we don't take care of our own well-being, we can become burnt out, stressed, more prone to physical and mental illness, and just overall unhappy and unwell. And although a lot of people might feel selfish thinking about taking time out for themselves, but it's not any more selfish to take care of yourself than it is to take care of someone else. It can be really tiring, always showing up for others and constantly being there for people and supporting people. And if we are always taking care of others and aren't doing anything to take care of ourselves, this can leave us feeling empty, stressed, and unfulfilled. It's hard to be there for others or to be there as the best version of ourselves when we're stressed out, burnt out, exhausted, or sick. Really taking time to take care of yourself helps us to be there as the best, brightest version of ourselves for others. But that being said, I think that it's important to acknowledge that while this is a great argument to have with ourselves or think about when we're feeling, a little selfish for taking time for ourselves, I think that it's important to acknowledge that self-care is important in and of itself because it keeps you healthy. Self-care is important because you're worth it. It's important in and of itself. It's great that it helps you be there for others, but it also it takes care of you. So that alone makes it worth doing because you deserve a life that is full of happiness and health and calm, and self-care helps keep you healthy. So that makes it worth it because you are worth it. So that being said, now that we've defined self-care and sort of talked a little bit about why it's important, let's delve deeper into what it is and how you can do it. So self-care includes different categories of well-being. These categories include physical, psychological, professional, relational, spiritual, and emotional well-being. Each of these areas is important to consider when developing a self-care plan. You might want to ask yourself questions like, how can I take care of my physical body, my mental health? How can I take care of my health in my relationships or at my workplace? All of these are questions you can consider when developing a self-care plan. As we begin to look at what self-care is and discuss examples of self-care activities, I think it's important to note that self-care is not the same as self-indulgence, and it doesn't have to be an expensive grand gesture. So, okay, let's take a minute to talk about what that statement means, because it's a big statement. So maybe you've been scrolling through Instagram one day and you come across a post, #self-care, where someone is, whoops, eating a whole quart of ice cream. That's delicious, but it's not #self-care, it's #self-indulgence. That's not to say that eating things you enjoy in moderation is bad or that It can't be a way to find pleasure or relieve stress. A bowl of ice cream as part of a balanced diet can definitely be self-care. The key is that the behavior is sustainable and healthy. It's something that in the long run is going to continually promote health. Eating a quart of ice cream every day, for example, probably not the best health-wise. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I mean, come on, you tell me. But eating a scoop of ice cream on Fridays while you watch a movie or have a bath, sustainable, healthy in the long run. Hashtag self-care. Self-indulgence is when self-care is practiced without moderation. Moderation is key to self-care. Self-care shouldn't be a source of stress, and moderation helps keep it healthy. Okay, so let's look at the second part of that statement. Self-care doesn't have to be a grand, expensive gesture. This is something that I see a lot of people struggling with, especially when they first start thinking about self-care. Self-care isn't just trips to the spa and massages and yoga classes. I mean, yes, those things are self-care, and if you've got the money to do them and you like doing those things, by all means, please go for it. But if you don't, you can still practice self-care, because self-care doesn't have to drain the bank. It can be more simple or mundane everyday things like brushing your teeth twice a day, learning how to eat healthy and actually doing it, washing your hands, reading, putting on sunscreen, practicing safe sex, taking a shower, taking your medications and keeping up with vaccinations, understanding any illnesses that you have, limiting alcohol use, saying no to a responsibility or obligation that you don't have time or energy for. All of these things are self-care. Self-care, it includes things that we don't necessarily even think of as self-care, because self-care is more than just what we see in cute Instagram posts. On a similar note, self-care isn't just for special occasions. It's a habit, it's a lifestyle, it's part of your daily routine. It isn't just, well, one time 6 months ago I ate an apple and I meditated and yeah, that was my self-care for the year, I'm doing good. Self-care has to be practiced regularly in order to be effective. That's why coming up with a self-care plan is so important and so helpful. It can really help you to stick to your self-care goals. So when coming up with a self-care plan, there are a few things that you want to keep in mind. First, you want to make sure you're choosing activities that you can and will actually do. You want to put things in your plan that are both reasonable and accessible. If you hate running, do not put run 3 miles a day in your self-care plan. You're never going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I hate running. I would never, okay? Don't do that. If you can only afford to get a massage once a month, don't put it down as a weekly activity. You want to make sure that the activities are sustainable and attainable, because you don't want the plan to become a source of stress. Keep it simple, and remember that little stuff is a part of self-care too. It's also important to consider what things in your life might come up that would prevent you from sticking to your plan. So you might think about things like what excuses you might make, what things other people might say or try to push you to do. What things might come up in your life that would keep you or try to prevent you from sticking to your plan. So you want to think about these things that might come up, but then you also want to think about how you want to handle them. How do you want to respond? What do you want to do? What do you want to say? Planning ahead for these moments can help you to stick to your plan when the time comes that you're tempted to quit or to lapse. It can even be helpful to build these considerations into your plan. For example, you might write, if I'm truly too tired to walk 2 miles with the dog after work, I'll do 1 instead, or I'll do a 15-minute yoga video instead. You want to put, give yourself options for those days where you really, are too tired and you might try to make an excuse to just not do your self-care activity. You might also want to visualize or consider how you'll feel once you regularly practice self-care. Envisioning the benefits can help you stick to your goals when you're tempted to quit or lapse. It allows you to be able to remind yourself that you will feel relaxed after you do this, and these activities are worth taking the time to do. Okay, so once you've thought about these considerations, you can begin to choose your activities. So first, you want to think about the things you're already doing. Do you want to continue to do these things? Are there things you're not doing that you've always wanted to try? Are there sort of less healthy things you're doing that you'd like to stop or that you'd like to avoid? Make sure you create a holistic plan and that there's balance in the categories that you're pulling activities from. You don't want all of your activities to be related to your physical well-being or your spiritual well-being, for example. So, okay, Emily, that's all great, but what kind of activities can I do? Well, you might want to consider scheduling in things like exercise. sports, yoga, qigong or tai chi, martial arts, meditation, mindfulness exercises, journaling, taking a bath or shower, lighting a scented candle, watching a movie, reading a book, getting a haircut, spending time with or chatting with friends and family, having a date night with or chatting with your partner, playing games, getting a massage or facial, doing your nails or having them done professionally, planning healthy meals, taking a timed nap, getting to work and leaving on time each day, listening to music, creative pursuits you enjoy, such as painting, pottery making, jewelry making, different musical pursuits, photography, graphic design, or writing, non-work related hobbies like disc golf, crochet, fishing, knitting, quilting, embroidery, puzzles, bird watching, gardening, baking, cooking, hiking, rock climbing, etc. There's many, many, many more to choose from. Going to church, mosque, or temple, prayer, astrology, or tarot, or other spiritual practices that are meaningful for you. You might want to consider getting organized, cleaning your space, taking a little trip, whether it's somewhere close by like to a park or somewhere farther away like to another state, city, or country. These are all just a few examples of self-care. Remember that more mundane things like eating right, practicing basic hygiene, and cleaning your home are self-care too, and add those to the plan, especially if they're things that you struggle with doing. I wanted to make a special note that outdoor activities are awesome to include in your plan if you can. Being outside in nature is proven to psychologically benefit you. It's good for your psychological well-being. So if you can include time outdoors in your plan, definitely do, even if it's just, sitting on your porch with a cup of coffee once or twice a week. The second special note that I want to make is that sleep is a huge part of self-care. Being sure to practice good sleep hygiene and having a set sleeping schedule is really important in taking care of yourself. Good sleep hygiene is self-care. So you may want to have part of your self-care routine be that you get up and go to bed at the same time every day. If you'd like a more dedicated video on sleep hygiene and what that is, what that means, comment down below and let me know. My third special note is that therapy can be a part of your self-care routine. And if you're currently seeing a therapist or you decide to see one as part of your self-care routine, you can talk to them about your self-care goals and plans, and they can help you in creating the plan and sticking to it. So you might have noticed that when I started my list of possible activities, I said schedule in. And while no, you don't necessarily have to say, okay, at 8 a.m. Wednesday and Friday, I will do yoga. Though if you can include a time in your plan, I recommend that you do, you still should create the plan as a schedule. Maybe it's not quite so specific, but it still says Wednesdays and Fridays, do yoga for 20 minutes in the morning. You want to be sure to give yourself times of day you will do things and time limits for how long you want to do them for. The more specific, the better, because the more specific it is, the more likely you are to actually do it. Remember that self-care is a lifestyle. Making mundane good choices is a huge part of self-care. Then you add to that a few extra activities like yoga or walking the dog or golf on Sundays. Don't pick too many extra activities. Remember to keep the plan sustainable and reasonable. You want to be able to actually do it. Having the plan truly will help you stick to your self-care goals, especially if you plan ahead for potential roadblocks. So to help you in creating your plan, I'm going to link a couple worksheets down below in the description box, which will hopefully make the process a little less overwhelming and help you in building your routine. I'll also link all of my sources for the video in case you're interested in learning more about self-care. I hope that this video was a good basic intro for you into what self-care is and isn't, why it's important, and how you can be a self-care master by developing a self-care plan. Be sure to check out the description box down below for the links to the worksheets, and feel free to share parts of your self-care plan or goals in the comments down below. It's always awesome to see other people's goals and plans and to be able to support each other. Let me know if you have any questions, and if there are any other videos you'd like to see me make, be sure to hit the comments down below and let me know so that I can make them. Or consider making them at the very least. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.